Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Planescape Torment. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that it chose to join me today here in the brothel. I always forget well, it's just the brothel here, but it's another war. It's a brothel. It's a brothel of just beautiful ladies with extremely huge cleavages. But that's not why we're here. We're here because they talk a lot. And let's have a chat with Yves, the tail chaser. Apparently, she's the one that talks the most. So let's see what she has to say. This fetching young woman has a faraway look in her soft, sea green eyes. Greetings. Greetings. I'm Yves, the tail chaser. Oh, I can press space. What a coincidence, says Morte. I too chase tails. Oh, yeah, Morte has been very outwards with his lines and stuff. Yves continues unperturbed. Have you come to trade, Tails? Well, I suppose so. Yves nods. I would like that very much, yes. Okay. Let's ask one of my companions if they have a story to tell. Yves awaits your story patiently. Morte, do you have a story to trade? Me? Why do I have to tell a story? Just tell a story, Morte. Fine. An elderly man was sitting alone on a dark path, right? He wasn't certain of which direction to go, and he'd forgotten both where he was traveling to and who he was. He sat down for a moment to rest his weary legs, and suddenly looked up to see an elderly woman before him. She grinned toothlessly and with a cackle spoke. Now your third wish. What will it be? Go on, Morte. Third wish? The man was baffled. How can it be a third wish if I haven't had a first and second wish? You've had 2 wishes already, the hag said. But your second wish was for me to return everything to the way it was before you had made your first wish. That's why you remember nothing, because everything is the way it was before you made any wishes. And she cackled at the poor Burke. So it is that you have 1 wish left. Oh, so that is a loophole right there. Well, it's not really a loophole, but it's kind of a bummer that even the number of wishes didn't go back to the way it was anyway. Go on, Morte. All right, said the man. I don't believe this, but there's no harm in wishing. I wish to know who I am. Funny, says the old woman, as she granted his wish and disappeared forever. That was your first wish. Yves smiles. Oh, Yves. That's an interesting story. Because the man didn't know who he was or where he was going to. Crap. Freaking hell, Morte, why are you telling that story? And who's this old woman? Freaking hell, Morte. You guys get what this is, right? That man is me. I wonder who I am. I mean, my character might not like it, but I hope I will. Yves smiles. An interesting tale, Morte. Oh, she treats him by first. Okay, good. And now I've one for you and your companion. The Fiend's Game. Okay, go on. A fiend sometimes wandered the wilderness of a certain prime world in the guise of a friendly old man. One day, he came upon some hunters in the wood. What are you doing? The fiend asked. The hunters told him, and the fiend nodded. I've never been on a hunt before. Go on. The hunters invited the old man to come along, and the group eventually came upon a glade where several deer were grazing. The hunters carried crossbows, but did not fire, and the fiend asked them why. They are unarmed, the hunters chuckled, patting their crossbows. We hunt nothing that does not have any ability to defend itself. After all, where is the sport in that? Well, if they run away, then I guess it's kind of a sport there, but sure. The fiend nodded at this and promptly gated... well, that's still her talking. And promptly gated in 3 of his fellows. The hunters led them on a merry chase, but eventually they were caught and eaten. Yeah, that's an interesting story. That's more of an added anecdote, really, than anything else. Excuse me. Had to cough a little bit. Yeah, I have another tale to share with you. Ask Anna. Do you have a story to tell? I'm no good at telling such things, I'm not. And she frowns and waves her hands as if trying to shoo away the idea. Don't be asking me for such nonsense now. I don't know how to pronounce that. That's Donai. Or Danae. Danae be asking. That's just weird. I don't know why they use that, but sure. Yves smiles at Anna. But I would very much like to hear your story. Please share your story, Anna. Come on already, fiendling. You already have one tale you won't part with. Oh, that was Morte talking. Anna looks uncomfortable, her tail lashing slowly back and forth. Well, I know one story. She suddenly becomes angry, glaring at Yves. But you might not like it, you won't. So don't be blaming me for you choking it out of me. Go ahead, Anna. Anna scowls, then finally relents with an exasperated sigh. I heard a story when I was a wee lass. This Burke's walking home real late, near Anti Peak, and passes an old toothless crone in a dark and otherwise empty street. Where are you going? She asks him. Home to my wife and Kip, he says. Oh, this is in rhyme. Near the Slags, she asks him. Sure enough, he says. Maybe it's not in rhyme. So she asks him a favor. To take a box she's got the debtor's pit and give it to the woman there. Now this Burke's a real sap, too nice to say no, despite the fact he's sure something not quite right about this old crone, and agrees. But what's the woman's name, he asks. Where does she live? Where should I go look for her if she's not by debtor's pit? The woman hands him the box, a wooden thing wrapped in colored cloth, and tells, it almost rhymes. I can see a lot of rhymes here, but yeah, anyway. And tells him to just go, and she'll be there. Finally, she warns him, and whatever you do, do not open the box. That's also about me, isn't it? So he takes it home with him and hides it in the rafters, thinking he'll bring it to the debtor's pit when it's light out. His wife, though, seeing him hiding the box, gets right jealous, thinking it's a gift for her lover or something, and opens it up as soon as he's not looking. Well, turns out the box was full of gouged eyes and severed male members with the hair still on him. Her scream brought the Burke running. He remembered what the crone said, got right scared, and wrapped the box back up. Okay. He went out straight away to the debtor's pit, and sure enough, there was another old hag waiting there for him. He hands her the box, and she says to him, "This box has been opened and looked into." The poor Burke tries to deny it, but she gets this dreadful look on her face. "You've done something horrible," she tells him, then disappears. That done, he hurries back to the Kip. He's feeling ill when he gets back and takes to bed. His wife bitterly regretted opening the box and all, but it was too late. The next day, he died of rotting disease, and the first thing— oh. Crap. What was that? Was it— What was inside? Just eyeballs and male members? Oh, it's over there. Full of gouged eyes and several male members. Yeah. With hair as well. So that's also— they probably had just not the member, but also the balls. Anyway, not just the eyeballs. The next day he died, rotting disease, and the first thing to go was his eye and stem. Anna nods grimly, her tale complete. Yves smiles. That was a wonderful tale, Anna. You should never hesitate to share it. Now, I have one for you and your companion, the parched land. Once, a large village was struck by a terrible drought. A farmer journeyed to the worshipping stone and again implored it as to the cause of the drought. He asked the stone why it did nothing when the fields were parched and dying, why the animals and the people suffered while the stone did not a thing. Have we not given enough offerings? The farmer asked, begging almost upon his hands and knees, but the stone did not respond. It merely sat and cast its shadow. Oh, is this like the king, the frog king or something? That's just that? No, I don't know. It doesn't really go anywhere beyond that, I guess. I don't really know if there's a meaning to that. I don't think it is. Worshipping stone. Okay, let's ask Dakon. Dakon, do you have a story to trade? Dakon nods solemnly. I shall impart the tale of Akali drowning. Dakon tells the story of Akali, a foolish Githzerai. Sorry, the hiccup. Another one. Yeah. A foolish Githzerai of myth who had become lost in the chaos of Limbo. Normally, a single Githzerai may use their focus and mental discipline to form the chaos around them into a small, habitable environment. Akali, however, asked so many useless and unfocused questions in her quest to return home that her isle of matter dissolved around her and she drowned. Yves smiles. Fascinating, Dakon. Let me share with you and your companion another version of your tale that I have heard. Dakon looks attentive and perhaps a little surprised. Go on, Yves. Yves goes on to tell a different version of Dakon's tale, in which a Kali was driven from the Gitzerai city of Shraktalor, which you have heard of before, for her constant useless prattling. One day, she encountered a Sladdy on his way to the spawning stone. She hastily erected a wall of chaos matter, which even the ravenous Sladdy found difficult to break down. Hungrily it waited, and spoke to her through the wall. She asked it questions, and as she became more absorbed in her pointless queries and the Sladdy's answers, her own wall decayed and collapsed upon her, and thus she drowned in the matter of limbo. Okay. Have another tale. Oh, I only have 3 companions. I forgot about that. I had questions, I guess. Why are you called Tail Chaser? Once upon a time, a girl came to an oracle who was rumored to know many things and asked of it a boon. Her life was in need of direction, so she asked this oracle as to what would give her purpose. Now, the oracle was not evil, but it was vague and tended towards drink, which caused it to be obscure in many matters of judgment and focus. Its only answer to the girl's question was that the within one story that she would hear in her lifetime was the truth that she sought. The girl went off and collected stories, which she chases to this day, not knowing which of the thousands hold the truth. Which of the thousands holds the truth. Such is the danger of a foolish question and the wisdom of an unspoken one. What are you doing here? I collect tales and trade them with others who've tales of their own. Okay, may I trade more tales? I'm not gonna tell her the waking on the mortuary. I don't know how many tales she's gonna give me, but I'm gonna tell her the story of the Alley of Lingering Sighs. Yves leans forward as you tell the tale of the alley giving birth. She seems to devour... What? Of the alley giving birth? Oh, yeah. She seems to devour your every word. As you finish, she smiles at you. I shall remember this tale, and now I have one for you. Before I begin, I must ask, do you know what a Modron is? Not really. Modrons are creatures of total law, almost more machinery than living things. There are many different sorts of Modron, but all have their place in a very rigid, carefully organized hierarchy. So dedicated are they to this system that they cannot communicate with or even consider the existence of Modrons who are not their immediate superiors or inferiors. Okay, I understand now. Then I shall tell you the tale of the clock and the quadron. Okay. Once upon a time, there existed a Modron. It was newly created, its logic fresh and untested, and it had come to Sigil, following the commands of its Modron superiors. It knew of nothing but commands and dictates of obedience and passing along the orders of its superiors. For you see, Modrons are only aware of the commands of their immediate superiors. They have no grasp of a higher authority, until this one. One day it came upon a small shop, within which there was a small clock that could no longer tell time. It was cracked along the edges, the wheels of its hands broken. The Modron immediately set itself to work at getting the parts to fix the broken clock. It made a new wooden housing for the clock's parts, replaced the bent springs, carefully filed and oiled the clockwork machineries, and carved new hands from the sparse metal available to it. The newly repaired clock's precise ticking reminded it of the greater gears of Mechanus, and it comforted it as much as anything may comfort a Modron. And what the Modron never came to understand was that it truly loved this clock that it had worked on, and for reasons it could not explain, elected to remain in Sigil and be with the clock for the rest of its years. That's an interesting perspective. It's basically a tale of love, but of a specific kind of love. It's interesting. It's a... Huh. Okay. I have another tale to share with you. About the Silent King. Should I tell about the Silent King? No, I shouldn't tell that. I told everybody that I wouldn't. About the Requeen's curse. That's an interesting one. Yves leans forward as you tell the tale of Requeen's odoriferous curse. She seems to devour your every word. As you finish, she smiles at you. I shall remember this tale. And now, I have one for you. The Gilded Tale. Upon the plain of Isgard is the Gilded Hall, where those sensates that seek the pleasure of gullet and loin can be found. They indulge these passions in earnest, never realizing that the doors of the hall never open and that there is no clear path back to the civic festival. They are the unwanted sensates, the ones that do not truly believe in the faction, but instead seek only pleasure for pleasure's sake. Are prisoners who do not realize they are such truly prisoners? Huh. Well, it depends. This is to answer that question. First, you need to answer what R is. What does it mean to be? And that's the question. And once you answer that, then you can answer. Because there's two possibilities. Either they are prisoners by definition, which means, are they prisoners? Yes, they are. Because even if, are the prisoners who do not realize they are? They are. It's right there. Are they? They are. Right there. So within this question, they are. But or maybe it means, maybe it's not the question of whether of what to be is. Maybe it's the question of what a prisoner is, because that sounds a little bit more normal, I guess. I had another tale to share with you. Yves nods. I would like that very much. Yes. Didn't I tell her the story already? Huh. The Alley of Dangerous Angles. Didn't I tell that? Lingering Sighs. Oh, of the Lingering Sighs. That's the other one. That's the tale where we got. Oh, that's yeah. So that explains what I was looking at. About the note and all that. Devour every word to finish the tale. I shall remember this tale. Okay, so I have one. The Lady Suitor. Is that Suitor? How it's said? I think it is. Go on. This tale concerns a suitor of the Lady of Pain, one of many over the years. He was a young man who was obsessed with the mistress of Sigil. He saw her everywhere, in every corner of the city. He would hear the rustling of her robes, the scrape of her blades, and grew infatuated beyond all reason. He hoped that if he worshipped her, that he would at last be able to see her. And so worship her he did. Go on. He was found dead on the blood-soaked steps of his own home, grievous stab wounds covering the wall of his body, but his eyes were open wide, and upon his lips was a triumphant smile. Okay, so he wanted to see her, he found her. Okay. I'm gonna tell about Farod. And she has another tale. She doesn't say what that one is. Once came a man who had experienced the most beautiful thing in the multiverse. It was his intention to place the experience within one of the civic fest hall's sensory stones. Magical devices which held feelings and memories for all eternity, leaving them for others to partake of. Go on. But he thought about it. Wouldn't its being shared diluted the experience? So he held it to himself, precious thing that it was, and aged with the memory. But as he aged, the memory became tarnished and beaten, and he could no longer recall the glory of the experience. Yeah, that's kind of how it goes. I'm gonna tell her about Ignis, and she's gonna tell me about the execution. Once, a murderer roamed Sigil's streets, a black-hearted man by the name of Cossacks. He had been blessed by his abyssal mother so that no one could strike him with an intent to harm, or they themselves would die. He reveled in his blessing, using it to start fights and murder anyone who crossed his path. Another hiccup, sorry. During one of his murderous rages, he was captured by the Harmonium with nets and brought before the governors. The trial was short, final, yet Cossacks laughed at the proceedings, knowing that no one among them could harm him without dying horribly. At the final day of his trial, he was proclaimed guilty and sentenced to death. Cossacks' sentence, proclaimed by the governors, was this: confinement for thrice 30 days, during which time you shall give up your life, be declared dead, and your body removed when all signs of life cease. Cossacks laughed and dared any of them to try and harm him, yet the court was silent. The mercy killers led Cossacks to their prison and locked him in a dark, empty cell. There was no cot, no lights, and the only door was a steel grate in the ceiling. As they lowered him into the cell, the mercy killer told him, "In the corner of your cell will you find a chalice. It holds poison. Your death will be swift." "Aren't you going to execute me?" Cossacks snarled at the guard. "No one in Sigil shall lay a hand on you with intent to harm," came the mercy killer's reply. "Then I spit on your cowardice," Cossacks laughed, feeling for the chalice in the darkness, then hurling it at the wall and shattering it. Its poison dripped from the walls and dried until it was no more. "Come then, you will have to try and kill me now." But there was no response from the grate in the ceiling. It was then that Cossacks noticed the cell had no cot, no lights, and no food and water. All that remained was the chalice, shattered chalice, the poison gone. And for the first time, Cossacks knew the icy touch of death's approach. In twice 30 days, the grate opened, and Cossack's body, now cold, was taken from the cell. It had given up its life, and the execution had been carried out. Yeah, that's pretty simple, straightforward execution, really. Let's see if I have another tale. Okay, I don't have another tale. So, can you tell me of one of your stories you've already... No, that's another story. Okay, what can you tell me about the silent prostitute? Echo? Yves frowns, thinking, "I once heard a tale of a girl who knew the word that, if spoken, would undo the multiverse. Perhaps this is Echo. Ask Dolara, though. I understand that she sometimes meets with one who knew Echo before she stopped speaking." Okay, yeah, we had that clue already. "I'm trying to find Vivian's scent. Do you know where it might be?" Yves shakes her head. "Speak with Nenny. She is forever pacing about, observing everything intently." Okay. Didn't Nanny tell me to speak to, Echo? No, she just didn't want to talk about that. I'm gonna find it somewhere else. Or somehow, another way. Do you know anything about Ravel Puzzlewell? The tale of Ravel Puzzlewell, frightener of children, begins and ends with a question. What can change the nature of man? Or of a man? Yeah, that's what we heard, right? Go on. Many were the times she posed this riddle to those who approached her, those who sought to glean from her the strange magics that she alone seemed to possess. All attempted to answer her query, but to no avail, and they found the price of their wrong answer to be some horrible fate, always more terrible than the last victims. To recount their various torments would be to speak of things that nightmares are woven of. The tale strikes me in this way. Ravel, herself, knew not the answer to this question, but she lusted for such an answer. Only the why of the matter remained in question. Why did the nature of a man matter to one of the Grey Sisters, especially to one of such power as Ravel? It is said that she put the question to the Lady of Pain, not directly, but shouted it to Sigil itself, daring for the lady to answer. When no reply was forthcoming, she wove terrible magics that threatened to open the cage and let the fury of the plains roll in like a wave. She received no answer other than banishment. To this day, no one knows the answer to Ravel's question. And now there is no one to petition, for Ravel herself is gone, lost to the plains.
Updated my journal.
I had another question. Wait, there is more. Though my tale ends with Ravel's demise, there are some that claim the hag still lives. There's a silent prostitute here who once talked of such things, but she speaks no longer. If she would speak to you, she might tell you more of Ravel. What else can you tell me of this silent prostitute? Echo? Okay. I need to ask Dolara of a way to make her talk.
You know, I've learned some new tricks.
Oh, did you? That's good. Let's level her up then. So she gains, she level up as a thief. She gains 20 skill points, okay. 2 hit points, very nice. Let's bring up detect traps. I never used that too much. Let's go with open doors here. Hopefully that's gonna be good as well. And there we go. She doesn't have any more of that. Can I sleep over here? Nah, I can't rest in this area. I do wonder if I could ask Fall from Grace about that. I haven't seen Dolora though. There she is. There she is. Okay, let's have a chat with Fall from Grace.
How may I help you? How may I help you?
That's not Imoen.
How may I help you?
Imoen has a very childish voice, but that's the voice actress that does it on purpose. That's not Imoen. That's I don't know who it is. I had some other questions I wanted to ask you. Yes? Yeah. So that's that. She doesn't really answer my questions, and we are gonna need to talk to Kesai Serris over here, and to the ladder over there. But for right now, I'm Colonel RPG, and this has been Planescape Torment. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and leave a comment, like the video, but above all, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next episode. Bye-bye!